Labas rytas. And let's go to the next presentation. So, yeah, the next presentation is about how to plan and control the supply chain with the constructible BIM model. And, well, yeah, we continue from the same process that Katja showed you. So, Katja showed you how to do the bidding in VICO Office. And now we're going to the detailing phase where we can use VICO and Tekla both, and also in construction phase we can use the both software together. So first we can check how we can use the VICO Office general schedule and bring that to Tekla, and then do the more detail level planning, for example weekly planning in Tekla structures. Also task planning, we can use the task manager tool in Tekla. Then of course we are not only managing the erection and the installation, we also want to manage the supply chain, fabrication and design. So we can do all those in Tekla structures also. I will show some examples about that. And the last thing is of course that we can use Tekla and VICO together to follow the whole project, and then of course do the forecasting and planning the schedule like Katja showed you in last presentation. So quickly, just to show you these different steps that we have. So like Katja showed you in there on the right bottom, the A, that you can bring and take the Tekla model to VICO Office. Then in VICO Office you can do the costing, and then of course the general schedule in the B section there. And now we continue from there, and we take the general schedule to Tekla, do the more detail level planning there, and then of course we want to also get the feedback to the general schedule in VICO. And also why we are doing these both, using these both softwares at the same time and parallel, is that of course like we heard that location-based scheduling, it's based on locations, and what we're doing in Tekla, it's based on object levels. So each precast element, each cast in place structure is our own object, so we can do even more detail level planning. And we can see that there's different roles in the project doing different kind of planning, so they can use different tool in different purpose. But I will show examples of this, so maybe it's then easier to see in real life. So first we have the general schedule in VICO. You already saw this. So locations, we have 2 locations, only 1 building, A and B sections, and then 5 floors, I think. And we have a couple example tasks. We have the piles, we have the foundation, we have the steel frame, and of course then we have our cast in place slabs. So we take, for example, one task, the steel frame, and import that to Tekla, and we will see the same information in a Gantt chart mode. So we have a Gantt chart mode in Tekla, but there's still the location is inside the Gantt charts and inside of course the 3D model that we have. And then we continue with the task planning with the Tekla Structures Task Manager tool. So there you can have the 3D model, and it's linked all to these tasks. So you can plan, coordinate, visualize. You can use this tool to even show the 4D presentation of the erection. And it could be even daily level. I was talking about weekly level, but the minimum detail that we can do in Tekla is 1 day. Okay, then if we go further in the process from detailing phase, we go to the construction side. There, of course, we are doing the progress tracking. And like I showed you, now we're in the D, in the part C and D. And there we can do the progress tracking. Here you can see this is just one window and tab in Tekla where we have the design phase, the fabrication, and erection. And we have, for each different party, we have planned and actual dates. So we can add the information to all these fields and then do, for example, reporting or other stuff. I will show you more about today about the installation, but you can do the exactly same things with fabrication and design. And of course, how the data can be imported to Tekla, that's one thing. So there's a lot of questions. So of course, you can add this manually in the model. You can use OpenERP interface, for example, some ERP systems or other softwares. Then we can use Excel. We know that almost every office and every construction site, they use Excel sheets to have these dates, for example, of the fabrication of the precast elements or steel elements. So we can also import straight from MS Projects this information to Tekla, and I will show that in demo. Okay, then when we do these actual dates, import the actual dates somehow in Tekla, then we can import that back to VICO. And VICO, of course, will show how the whole project will then estimate and forecast how the whole project will end up. And then, like Katja showed, we can see quickly this forecasting and estimate how the project will then continue. So here's the date that we are now looking at, and here are 4 tasks. Now we can bring the actual dates, and it will immediately show that, for example, the task 1, it started a little bit too slow, and then they get quick, and actually at this moment they are doing faster than it was planned. But the second task, it started late, but they're doing pretty well because they have already measured to take up the time. Then when we continue, we can see it, okay, task 2 looks, it will be a little bit late, and the task 3 actually is doing pretty well. But there should be probably some kind of collision or clash here. So they can't work at the same time, same place. And it ends up this way that task 2 is late, and of course then the task 3 and 4 will be late also. So immediately when we get the actual dates, we can see how it will affect all the other tasks also in the project. So we can actually estimate the forecast even two years ahead of where we are now. Okay, let's go to the demo and see how it works in Tekla and VICO. So today I have this quite simple demo project here. So it's a steel frame, it's a Tekla model with steel frame and cast in place slabs. And well, we have some reinforcing also here in the footing and the slabs, so it's a little bit detailed, not fully detailed model, but it could be also fully detailed. And first thing, when we get the model, and let's go through want to get to know the project. Of course, the location and the quantities is the most important thing. So we have this tool called Organizer, where you can have all the locations and also the quantities. I will show the quantities later today, but let's see how the locations can be done in Tekla. So Katja also showed that you can do the locations in VICO Office, and we can do also the locations here. But the idea is again that in VICO Office it's more about location based, and here is object based. So here we have the project, and if you look at that, we have the whole building. We have one building. Then I divide it to the two sections. So we can see that in the middle there's two sections. Probably in real life this project is only one section, and we will build it up with only using one section. But this is an example, so I created two sections there. So we have 1 and 2. Then of course we have also the floors, and I divided that. We have foundation. If you look a little bit closer, we can see that the piles and the foundation now is inside this red box, or transparent red box, and then we know that all these structures will belong to the foundation. And then we have the first floor, the second floor, and so on. Fourth, and the roof also. The third one was missing in between. And so how we use these boxes is that when we create the new structure, for example, steel column in third floor, so it will automatically go to the right group, and we will get the quantities from third floor. So it's an automatic and tool and rule-based tool for getting the quantities. So for example, now I created these boxes, and we can start checking the model. And we can easily see now that that foundation in A section, these structures belong to this. And we can see all the time that the quantities are on the left side here. First floor, we can see that it's the steel columns and beams, and then the cast in place slab. And we can even use some grouping tools that we can quickly select only the steel structures from the first floor. So you can organize the information in organizer, and then manage and get the quantities based on the locations. Okay, so let's continue with the scheduling part. So we go to the VICO Office scheduling software. So this is the example schedule. It's quite simple. You can see that there's a couple of tasks. So here's the project start here, and the project ends here. So now it looks pretty okay. And if we even use the control mode in VICO, it will automatically estimate that there is some risks in the project. It might be a bit tight, the schedule, but still it will be managed and built before the project deadline is here. So there is also automatic risk management in VICO. But then we take the general schedule and export that to Tekla. So it's a XML-based file that I just export from VICO. And then we go to Tekla and open the Task Manager tool that I mentioned, that you can do the detail level scheduling here. So we can see now it's empty. So on the left side you can see the task list. There are no tasks at the moment. And on the right side you can see the calendar mode. It's in Finnish, but don't. That's okay. And then we just import the general schedule that I created in VICO Office. And just okay, and then just refresh the Task Manager, and we will see now the whole task list in Tekla. So all the tasks that I have created in the VICO now in Tekla, but it's not related to the model yet. So next thing is that we need to add all these tasks for example, first fall steel frame, we need to add all the steel parts to this task. And that we can do with help with the organizer tool, like I showed you that we have already all the sections here. So we can select the first floor, then I use this grouping tool and select the 143 steel structures. And then say just this, I need one thing first, yeah, we need to lock the schedule that I imported from Tekla, because I don't want to calculate the duration in Tekla. I'll keep the duration that I calculated and planned in VICO. So it's like a baseline. Then we just say that the for one in A section that these steel structures belong here. And it will turn the Gantt chart here blue. So now it's blue, that it means that there is some 3D objects linked to that task. And we can also select straight from the model, for example, this slab, and then go to this task and say that, okay, it belongs to that task. So this way I need to link the general schedule from VICO to Tekla objects, so we can do the more detail level planning. And now we can concentrate on the one task. Let's concentrate on the steel frame in first floor in section A. We can see that it says that it was all these objects in the model that we are now doing the weekly and daily level planning. So next what we do is do the installation sequencing. So we need to plan each day, so we need to plan also the sequence we will install all the steel columns and beams. And of course, depending where is the crane, we need to think which elements we should install first. But let's start from this corner. So let's install first this column and then next one, and then the beam. And this way we can plan the whole frame, how we install all the structures. Just an example. So depending where is the crane and everything, we can start clicking the objects, and it will automatically here remember the installation sequence that I defined. So let's continue from this corner, for example. And you can immediately see that if there is some structure missing, that for example this beam cannot be installed here. Something is missing at the moment, so we need to check the whole. And here we can see that probably is the elevator shaft is missing from here. We cannot install these beams. But let's continue. So we can do this manually, or if we have some kind of, we can use the coordinates X, Y, and Z also for defining the sequence. Okay, let's just click these beams quickly and then we can continue. Like this. Okay. Then I will then save the installation sequence I just defined in the model manually, and then we can check that was it that I planned. We can then modify, drag and drop, so that we can see the right order. So the next phase is that we know that we had for this task we had 2.5 days time, and we have 134 steel structures. So it's I think, I don't know, is it manageable? Is it quite tight? But with this tool, you can of course plan it and see it. Is it possible to do it? So let's calculate the dates. First, we need to say that it's a steel frame. So we want to use the quantities, pieces for this, and for the slab, we want to calculate the cubic meters for the slab. So pieces for the frame and the cubic meter for the slab. And then we can do the okay. Now we can see that each steel element has exact time when it started the installation and ended. So it's 37 minutes per each column, for example, here. And now after we calculate the installation time, we can go and open the information and see that this column was planned to install 4th of March. And each element has their own time or date when it should be installed. And let's do, for the slab, we have only one date. We can divide it also for formwork, reinforcing, and pouring, but now we have only one date. It will start and take 5 days for this slab, the whole work. Okay. So we can now see that for the steel frame, we can see that these objects belong to that task, and then we plan the installation sequencing. What can we do next is then that we can visualize the erection with this tool. So let's see when the installation starts. It starts in March, so let's jump 2nd March. So now we can see that these green objects here should be installed in 2nd day. If we go back and forth in the calendar, we will see that which elements should be installed in which day. And then the slab structure starts, and it takes many days, so this is how we can visualize the whole frame, how it will build up, and this is just an example of the first floor. Okay. And like I told that we can also, now we planned the installation, but we can also see the actual dates for the design and fabrication. So we can add, for example, for the fabrication here, some actual dates and show and visualize it with different colors. Now I will read from Excel file these dates to Tekla. So we have this file. So it's a template file in Excel that it has the information of which object. So it's for example here a column and the actual dates for the fabrication. So we can see the actual dates here. You can add these dates in Excel after you have created this report and template from Tekla. And at the moment there is no information about the fabrication, but after I use the import attributes from Excel. Yeah, it takes just a couple of seconds, and then we can go and see that the information to all these objects came from Excel sheet to automatically to Tekla. And now this information can be used for reporting, can be used also for visualizing. So let's see. Now we can see that, for example, the blue ones, they are fabricated. So I can immediately see quickly that, okay, the blue color beams are already fabricated. So I can add also manually here some date, for example today, and it will turn blue. And we can also jump from the calendar so we can see the history in the objects. So this is how you can add the status for every structure here and all the planet and actual dates. Also to design a fabrication. Okay, let's continue with our installation part. So this, we already planned this first floor steel frame, and let's just select, for example, here these structures and give the actual date for the installation. Let's say that it was 5 days late. It was planned to be, or even week late, so it's quite much late already. Now I added to all these objects that it was one week late installed. Then we can immediately see here in Task Manager that it will give a warning that we're late, and we can see from the Gantt chart that it was started, but it was late started. And we can see that now 2% of the first floor is ready, or the first floor steel erection, 10% of that is ready. Yes. And also this could be shown with different color setting. For example, let's see. Let's jump a bit further. Yeah, we can see now that with the different color setting that what's the status of the erection or the fabrication. Okay. Then we want to get back the feedback back to VICO, so we can export the progress to VICO from Tekla. So let's just choose the date. So it was something like 5th of March, we can check that. Oh, it was 11th of March. And then just write the file, for example, progress to. Okay, so we can do now the detail level, daily level progress tracking in Tekla, and then we can jump back to VICO and do the more high level forecasting and estimating here. So this is the moment now that it was a bit tight schedule, but let's see that now we import the Tekla actuals. And now let's see what now happens. It automatically calculated based on the information that we added in Tekla that for example this steel frame started a bit late here, and then it will affect the slab installation and the frame installation in the B section. And actually the end is that now the project deadline was here, and it's forecasting that we will finish a couple of weeks later. So this is the whole thing that we can do the detail level planning and progress tracking in Tekla, and then give the feedback to VICO and do the forecasting. Of course, now we need to do the planning, check the resources. Should we add some crews? Should we work longer days, or what's the solution that we can finish this and move it back to the before the project ends? So that was it. Thank you. Achu.